Have you ever felt like no one's really listening? Like the world keeps moving even while you're falling apart? You reach for a message, a sign, a glance, and all you find is silence. That's where the real awakening begins. Because what you're about to hear today isn't comforting, it's brutal. Nobody cares about you, not the way you hoped. Not the way you were taught to believe. And yet, that truth is one of the most liberating things you'll ever face. In this video, you'll understand why abandonment isn't always a curse. It's the beginning of freedom. You'll see how solitude can become your most ruthless teacher, and how letting go of the need for validation can give you back the one thing you lost long ago: your power. This isn't another motivational speech. It's a confrontation, a journey into the rawest corners of your mind where you stop waiting to be saved and start realizing that you are the one who must rise. The discovery of abandonment and the lie of validation. There's a moment in life when everything becomes painfully clear, not through words, but through silence. You wake up, check your phone, and the quiet feels heavier than noise. No messages, no calls, no one asking if you're okay. And suddenly, something inside you breaks. You realize that for years you've been chasing an illusion, believing that if you did everything right, the world would care, that your success would bring admiration, your pain would invite comfort, your words would be heard. But they weren't. What you got were empty replies, automatic congratulations, and distracted eyes. That's when the truth hits you. No one's really watching. Everyone is trapped in their own chaos, and you exist only in the blurry corners of their attention. And the worst part isn't that you've been abandoned. It's realizing you were waiting for something that was never coming. We were raised on a lie, that our worth depends on how others see us, that we only exist when someone notices, applauds, or validates us. That belief is a cage, one we decorate with achievements and smiles, hoping someone will look in our direction. But the day that illusion collapses, the silence feels unbearable. And yet, inside that silence, something else begins to breathe. A strange kind of freedom. Because when you finally understand that nobody cares about you, you also understand something terrifying and beautiful. Your life is yours alone. There are no rescuers, no guarantees, no saviors. Only you. And the silence that once broke you is the same silence that will rebuild you. The freedom that hurts. No one's coming to save you. After the initial shock, a strange silence follows. It's not peace. It's not relief. It's the sound of reality settling in. The moment you realize that no one is coming, no one is watching your struggle, no one will carry your burden, and every step, every choice, every failure will be entirely your own. That's when freedom stops feeling like a gift and starts feeling like a punishment. Because when you finally see that your life depends only on you, the weight of that truth can crush you. You can't hide behind excuses anymore. You can't blame others for what you refuse to face. You can't keep saying, "Nobody helped me," because now you know there is nobody. Sartre called it existential anguish, that dizzying feeling that comes when you realize you're completely free and completely responsible. There are no railings, no safety nets, no maps, just you, standing before the abyss. And for the first time, you understand what it really means to be alive. That freedom burns. It strips away every illusion of control, every comforting lie that once kept you still. It shows you, without mercy, that if you waste the day, no one will stop you. If you stay in a job you hate, no one will rescue you. If you choose not to fight for what you want, the world will keep spinning, indifferent. And that's the hardest truth to face. The world's indifference isn't your enemy. The enemy is the part of you still waiting to be saved. The part that clings to comfort, to recognition, to the fantasy that someone else will make it easier. But that part of you is dying, and its death is painful. Because real freedom doesn't come wrapped in light. It comes covered in ashes. It destroys your illusions before it rebuilds your strength. And in that destruction, something sacred begins. The birth of responsibility. The moment you stop asking for rescue and start walking on your own. The fall of the masks and the birth of authenticity. When the noise fades, you're left alone with your own reflection. And at first, that reflection burns. You begin to see every lie you've told yourself to fit in. Every time you stayed silent to avoid rejection. Every smile you forced to keep the peace. Every version of yourself you created just to be liked. Then it hits you. You weren't living. You were performing. Performing for people who weren't even paying attention. That's when solitude stops being punishment and becomes a mirror that shows you everything you pretended to be and everything you could become if you stopped acting. The mask starts to crack, and what's underneath isn't pretty. It's raw, unfiltered, uncomfortable, but it's real. Sartre spoke of the gaze of the other, that invisible prison that shapes who we think we are based on what we believe others expect from us. But when that gaze disappears, so does the script, and you're left standing in the silence with nothing but yourself. That's when the most dangerous question appears. Who are you? When there's no one watching, when there's no applause, no validation, no audience to perform for. Most people can't handle the answer. They run back to the noise, back to distraction, back to the comfort of pretending. They'd rather live a lie than face the emptiness of the truth. But if you resist, if you dare to stay in that silence, something begins to awaken. You start to feel alive again. Not comfortable, not happy, but alive. Because authenticity isn't gentle. It's a war. And every step toward it tears something false from you. A belief, a habit, a fear, and replaces it with something unbreakable. Coherence. That rare peace that comes when your actions finally match your soul, even when nobody's watching. Solitude as a filter, and the awakening of real meaning. When you choose authenticity, you lose a lot. Not because life is cruel, but because truth doesn't coexist with illusion. You start to notice how the crowd around you fades. Superficial friendships dissolve. Small talk becomes unbearable. Relationships built on convenience begin to collapse. And what's left is silence. A silence that no longer feels like abandonment, but revelation. Because once you stop performing, you stop belonging to the theater of the world. Your honesty unsettles people. Your silence makes them nervous. Your freedom exposes them. Sartre once said that freedom is scandalous because those who dare to live it without disguise become a mirror for those who still hide. That's why the path of the awakened is rarely crowded. It's quiet, lonely. But that loneliness isn't empty anymore. It's clean. And in that clarity, you begin to see what was invisible before. The time you once wasted trying to please others now becomes space. Pure, sacred space. Your choices stop orbiting around other people's approval and start revolving around what truly matters to you. Routine turns into decision. Every yes, every no, every word you speak starts to carry weight. And slowly you realize something powerful. The world's indifference is no longer a wound, it's freedom. Because if nobody cares, you're finally free to care about what truly matters. If no one's watching, you're free to look inward. If no one's coming to save you, you're free to become your own savior. Solitude becomes a filter. It burns away what's false and leaves behind only what survives the silence. And when you finally learn to walk in that silence, you discover something that changes everything. You were never truly alone. You were just distant from yourself. Nobody cares about you. Accepting that nobody cares about you feels like a wound at first. A deep cut that empties everything you thought you knew about love, attention, and worth. But what if that wound is the door? Because once you understand that no one's coming to save you, you stop waiting. You stop performing. You stop begging for a place in other people's minds. And in that silence, you find something sacred, yourself. Sartre once said, "Man is condemned to be free. Condemned because there's no escape from responsibility. Free because within that burden lies your greatest power. When you realize that no one owes you anything, that no one's watching, that no one's holding you up. Everything shifts. The silence that used to crush you now becomes your ally. The loneliness that once hurt you now becomes your teacher. And the indifference of the world becomes the most powerful reminder of all. Your life is yours alone. So stop waiting for messages that never come, for applause that means nothing, for help that isn't coming. The truth is heavy, but it's yours. And with it, you can rebuild everything. You don't need anyone to care about you. You just need to start caring for yourself, for your mind, your path, your freedom. If this message resonated with you, declare it not as a quote, but as a promise to yourself. I choose my freedom. Because when you finally accept that nobody cares about you, you realize you never needed them to. Meaning, strength, and truth were always waiting where no one ever looked, within you.